Hello, welcome to the Shepherd's Rest Doc Talk. This is episode 129. I'm Cam and Julie is not here. This has been quite a week for the two of us. I first had food poisoning and then Julie got the flu and is unable to be with us today. It is the middle of the week. I am trying to get this out quickly. This week's Torah portion, we are looking at Exodus 10 through 13. I'm only going to touch on a few things, and it's going to be relatively short. I was looking at the god of the underworld, who's the god Anubis. Now, he is the god of the underworld. He and Osiris are pretty much the same type of role, which is interesting because when you look at the Nile, remember, we had that flooding, Hapi. Hapi is a part that works with Osiris. Osiris is the one who provides life, but also death. Then you go to the end, and now we have Anubis, who is the god of the underworld. He also is the one who is accredited with afterlife, who gets afterlife. So he is considered the god of life for the afterlife. Baby, I need you to move. Get down. Now, Anubis is the one who has the dog head, okay? You'll see in hieroglyphics, oh my gosh, I can't talk. Anyway, in the drawings in the wall, right? You'll see he's the one that has the jackal. Sometimes it's called the golden jackal. Sometimes it's called he's a canine. And sometimes he's called a wolf. So this whole journey I went on in looking up this god took me, that's what it did. So anyway, I was looking up and it starts saying that with more and more research, they are finding that the animal that canine, is more of a wolf, like the gray wolf of America, okay? While it's not the American wolf, but there's something very similar to that in Africa, and it's the closest to the gray wolf. So that not only is considered, yes, he's the canine, the jackal, but they are giving him more of the equivalent of a wolf. Okay, why is that important? Because the wolf comes in sheep's clothing, right? And this whole 10th plague, this death of the first child, is the wolf and the lamb. Do you see it? Okay. And so when I was studying this, my first, oh my gosh, was I had read this article that talked about a part of the worship of Anubis was to offer up a wolf or the dog, equivalent of him, a dog, a wolf, This article was talking about how the wolf had come over. So it was the type of animal that they saw him as that they were wanting to offer. And we talked about that on Friday night. And I was asked the question, well, what did they do after they did that? Did they eat it? what did they do with it? No idea. So I went back trying to find this article. Can't find the article anywhere. I went through my history. I went through my, I found in the history one of the articles, but apparently I clicked. I can't find that click. But what I did find was several articles talking about all these mummified dogs that they had found involved in the worship of this god. Now, this article, I couldn't find the article that was saying that they were offering these dogs. So I don't know what to do with that. Either, I prayed and I was like, Lord, oh my God, did I just completely mislead? What did I do? But all of a sudden he's like, look, that was the stepping stone that got you to the, okay. So I don't know what to say about that. They offered, I don't know what that looked like. I can't find the details on it now. And I'm not going to misquote what I can't even find what I read. Anyway, the point is that they do have all these mummified dogs, canines that are in link to this god of the dead and the afterlife. Okay, so after I got all discouraged about it, okay, I read this. I love it. It's in 11. In Exodus 11, it's talking about the firstborn dying. In Exodus 11, 7 says, but against any of the children of Israel, no dog shall move its tongue against man or against beast, so that you know that Yahweh makes distinction between Egypt and Israel. Okay, no dog. Why would they say that? Because associated with this God of the firstborn, the God that is being knocked off its kilter, okay? The God of the underworld who determines, according to this, he's determining, he takes the heart and determines whether you have afterlife. If it's light enough, you get afterlife. If not, you die. You have no afterlife. Do you see the attributes of the living God that have been stolen? These are the attributes of the Lamb, okay? The Lamb is the one who's going to sit and judge, not this one. Revelation, the Lamb sits and judges, okay? Not the wolf, not the dog. The dog is silent. See, there'll be not one word spoken against Israel here. I love this. Here we have the God of Israel, okay? The God of the Hebrews, our God, is presenting himself just like he said he would. This is the foreshadowing of what Messiah is going to do on the cross. He says in Genesis 22, Abraham says, the Lord will provide himself a lamb, right? And then remember, when it was time, he looks over and what is in the thicket? A ram. Here we have Passover. What is in the sky? A ram. Now, on the idea, here's my stepping stone, on the idea of if they were offering or, trying to take the power or whatever you want to say of the canine or a wolf, and they're presenting this to this God. So you're a dog, I'm going to give a dog. You're a wolf, I'm going to give it a wolf. Okay. So here, the Lord's telling them to go and take a lamb. Now it does say you can take of either the ram or the goat, which you're going to eat. But the lamb is what is really brought to the forefront of what they need to take into their house, right? And what they're going to present. Okay. Well, okay. If that's the case of following this pattern, we have the people who are offering up a lamb. That's what our Messiah is coming as, the lamb. So it's the same. I'm just seeing this clarifying of, okay, you're going to mimic your God with the dog. We're going to mimic ours with the lamb because he is the Lamb of God. That is a dog, okay, or a wolf. Think about this. In the end, in Isaiah, we have what? The wolf and the lamb laid down together. It's not the lion and lamb. It's the wolf and the lamb. This is starting right here. All of a sudden, all these analogies between the lamb and the wolf are coming here. I mean, those things are all the way back of these attributes of a false God and a living God clashing. Do you see this? Do you see how we still have the wolves out there, right? They want to devour the sheep. We need to have a shepherd to take care of us. What's the shepherd do? He kills the wolves. He won't let the wolves and the dogs come and eat the sheep. Okay? I don't know if you're seeing this. I got all excited because I just love how there are layers upon layers. And on that note, I had said last week that I wanted to look real quick about the rods. In these last sets of plagues, remember there's 3 sets of plagues. There's the first 3, the second 3, and 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, and 9, we have Moses' rod being used. In the first one, we have Moses' rod over the Nile, and then we had Aaron's on everything else. And I talked about how because Moses' rod was the one that turned to the serpent and he grabbed the tail, that really we're seeing Messiah with full control over the enemy, over Hasatan, the evil, okay? So the Nile, as I said earlier, with Happy working with Osiris, Happy, if you remember, was the one who brought life, right, out with the Nile. Okay, and now we have the end. The reason why I said that is we have Moses dealing with the beginning, the Nile one, and then the end set. Because to me, I really see the beginning and the end, okay? Messiah, right, he says, look, I am the beginning, I'm the end. Here we have Moses' rod. We have Moshe. We have the representation of Messiah with full control of Hasatan in the beginning and at the end, okay? And we also have him, look, when he being Moses, splits the Red Sea, it's also with that in hand. Because all the evil that's meant to come against Israel at that time that we'll see next week, the Lord just uses that uses the literal evil plan to allow something spectacular to happen, to even point more so to those around that he is the living God, that he's got this under control. He's got that rod under control. So I guess the last thing I wanted to touch on real quick was in chapter 11, verse 1. It says, "And the Lord said to Moses, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he is going to let you go from there. When he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether." Now, two things about this verse. One is the word for plague here is it is used here, and it is used in Genesis 12:17, which is also with Egypt and with Pharaoh. It's when the Lord is speaking to Pharaoh, who has a hold of Sarah, and he needs to let the bride go. He needs to let the wife go. And the Lord's saying he's going to bring these plagues on him. Let the wife go. He lets the wife go, right? We talked about that before. That is a foreshadowing of what's going to happen here. So here we have the Lord's wife that needs to be released. Same word, because it's pointing back to telling us, look, this is letting my wife go. This is what's got to happen. All right. And the first Pharaoh in Genesis 12 says yes. The Pharaoh here, his heart has been hardened to show that the Lord is willing to do anything and everything to bring out his wife, his bride, but also the people who love him. Okay. Also that whole group, the whole wedding party, everyone and anyone who's willing to go, I surrender all. He says, well, I give all. Come on, let's partake. All right. And the other point of that whole scenario is that the Lord is a gentleman, and he sets up his commandments for us and for him. So he won't steal, which is why we have in the very beginning of this whole event with Pharaoh that the Lord tells Moses he's going to let them go, but he's also going to drive them out. And that's in Exodus 6. I think it's 6:1, 6:2. So that is where we already know Pharaoh has to release, because the Lord doesn't steal. He's not going to steal his people. Pharaoh stole them from the Lord, but the Lord doesn't steal them back. He's going to allow Pharaoh to fully release his people so that now he can properly bring them back under his wings, bring them back into his fold. And let's remember that we are told that we are to teach our children this, okay? We are to teach our children all the aspects of this redemption, because redemption still happens to us on our personal level, but it's going to happen again. People, it's going to happen again. We're not going to talk about this one because the next one's going to be so great. I don't know what that looks like, but I'll tell you what, when it's happening, I don't think we're going to have to second guess. We're going to know when we're in the midst of that redemption. Hoping and praying I'm in that generation. If not, may we teach the generation to come so they can properly recognize it. That's our job. Our job is to keep our eyes open and look and to teach. So let's teach. Hop in the Word. Study. Let this become every fiber of your being. That's my goal. That is my goal. I want this Word to permeate every fiber of my being. That is my goal. So I don't know why I went off on that tangent. Oh, all right. So thank you so much for joining us. Me. Can't wait for Julie to be back. And we hope you have a fantastic week. Shalom. Yeah, that was a cat.